there, so Tara Porter here from Methodical Blogger, and I wanted to do this video because I've had questions about WordPress and how to navigate it, because the second you get access to your WordPress dashboard, which is where you edit all the things on your site, it can look incredibly overwhelming, right? You don't know where to go. I remember when I first had access to my WordPress dashboard, it was crazy. I didn't even know where I was supposed to click, and it was overwhelming. Right? So I want to walk you through, show you the key places that you want to start with as you're starting your blog, where you're probably going to go to frequently. A lot of the buttons are things that you're probably hardly going to touch. So I'll walk you step by step through those different things. You ready? All right, let me share my screen and let's get started. So how do you access your WordPress dashboard? Now, first of all, you need to have a website that is hosted. I will provide a link below to a tutorial that I did that walks you screenshot by screenshot through the whole process of getting your hosting set up. So that once you're set up, once you've got WordPress on your blog and everything, you type in your website address and then you do /WP-admin. And anytime you're doing any kind of work on your blog, you're creating pages, you're creating your posts, whatever, that's the website you go to, and it takes you to a page that looks like this. So I'm going to walk you screen by screen through what exactly the different buttons are that you want to pay attention to. So first of all is the dashboard. This is the screen that greets you, and you can customize this. Like this gives me, this is something I really like about WordPress, is right when you get started, it gives you a list of, okay, here's are the things that you were going to want to get started with. Now, I personally recommend my blog launch planning guide, because I think that in some cases here they put the cart before the horse, and there are things that you should be doing before you do some of the steps here. So to access that, go to methodicalblogger.com/freebies, and you can download that checklist, and that can help walk you through. It's free. It's just a list that walks you step by step through the different things. You can also dismiss things. Like you can make this look however you want based on different tools you have. I'll be honest, the only thing that I look at here would be my Google Analytics dashboard, okay? I've hidden it here so we don't get stuck in the comparison game, but you can have that Google Analytics dashboard. I do take a peek at that. Okay, so let's go over here on this left-hand side. The first one is posts. So let me show you this. I could go to all posts, and it gives me a link to all the blog posts that I've ever created, and I can click on any of them to edit, okay? So let me just show you what that looks like. So it takes me to all posts, and I can hover over this. It tells me if it's scheduled. It's sorted by whether it's published, scheduled, drafts, whatever. Click on edit, and we can edit it. Also, what I want to draw your attention to is you can click add new, and let's talk for a second about what it's like to build a post. So first of all, you type in your title. Okay, I'm just making up a title. And down here is where you're able to actually create your blog posts. You might type in your content. Any point that you want to add an image, you can click on add media, and you can upload an image and click to insert it into your post, okay? And it saves old ones that you've put in, so I love that, because maybe I used an image from a post several months ago. I can reuse that same content with just different words on my blog post, but I might need that visual, right? So you can play around with this. These tools probably look very familiar to you. They're pretty standard with a lot of text editing, and you enter in your information. Other things to pay attention here. On the right are categories. You can add categories for your site. Now, don't go category crazy. I recommend sticking it to maybe 5 or 6. And this allows your reader to, let's say a reader comes to your blog and they want everything on a particular topic. This is how they could easily access that information. Okay, other things here are what's called plugins, which I will get to. The featured image tends to be the image that when you share the link to your website, that's the image it's going to show up. So as you share to Facebook or others share to Facebook, that's going to be the image that you want to do. Now, once you get a little more technical, and you might need to add what's called HTML. It looks like a completely different language. All I have to say to you on this is, don't get overwhelmed with that. I find that you learn how to use HTML code as each issue comes up where you need to, and you do a Google search to say, how do I embed a form? And you can figure out how to do that. But for now, don't sweat it. What I personally love is I use the Divi theme. That's the theme that I've installed on my WordPress. I will also link to that below where I walk you step by step through exactly how to set it up. But what I love about it is it's so user friendly. So I can actually click use the Divi builder, and down here is how I create my blog post. So I might choose to have text, but maybe here I would like an image. So I can have an image included in one section. I can change this to columns. So there's a lot of customization. You can see my post on Divi where I talk with that. I won't go into a ton of detail, but that's one way that you can make your site look amazing. And it's very user-friendly to work through. And I'm big on that. All right, so let's keep going with what's down here on the dashboard. So media, I tend to only add media as I'm writing a blog post like I showed you before. I click when I want to insert a picture. But if ever you want to see your media library, which is basically all the images that you have in your library, you can go here and see them, or you can add a new one, do things like that. Pages, so this would be things like if you create an about page, if you create, drawing a blank right now, a services page, any kind of page that you want to set up. It's not necessarily a blog post, but it's kind of a standalone page. This is where you would want to create those. So you can see all of your pages by going to all pages. The view is the same as what I showed you for the posts page. It's just all your pages instead. Or you can go add new to create a new page. Now, when you go to a new page, it looks exactly like creating a post. Same editor. Everything looks the same, right? So that helps a ton. The difference that I like to give people between a post and a page is to look at it like this. So oftentimes users subscribe to what's called an RSS feed. And basically what that means is whenever you post a blog post, that gets emailed to them. It shows up in their email inbox, or maybe they're using some kind of service where they can read blog posts. It gets sent to them, right? Well, do you want a services page sent to them? Probably not. So anytime you have something where it's not necessarily, real time being sent to someone, you might want that as a standalone page. Okay, that's kind of my distinguishing between those two. Awesome. Next is comments. Honestly, I don't go and browse my comments. I will get an email in my inbox whenever there's a new comment, and I can click from my inbox. And like I said, so many of the buttons here you're not going to need, okay? Like you really don't access them. Projects, I don't think I've ever in the history of time used the projects. I've never used the feedback. Sometimes you install what are called plugins, which I'll show you in just a second. And so you'll see some of those plugins on here. Plugins, it would be like, how you install an app on your phone? It's kind of like that, except instead of it showing on the home screen of your phone, it's showing up in your dashboard. So I have a few that I love that I like to use for my website, so I put them on. Okay, so this one is one of those plugins. So we'll skip that. You won't have that in your dashboard unless you've installed that plugin. Next up is appearance. So you can click on themes and you can pick a theme for your website. You'll see that there is a whole variety of themes that you can use, and you can pick different kinds. I personally recommend Divi. Now I am an affiliate for them because I love them so much. I hunted them down and asked if they paid people to talk about them because I figured I talk about them a lot. So if you do click on the link below, I just wanted to thank you in advance. I really appreciate the support for Methodical Blogger. But you can pick all kinds. You can search for themes that might be available. This is just the one that I use. You can then go to customize. That's the next button on this, and it allows you to customize your theme. Now this might look different based on whatever theme that you are using for your site, okay? But if you click on each of these, I'm not gonna go into all of this, but if you have a question, maybe you came across one and you don't know what it means, simply comment below and I'd be happy to help answer it for you. But you can do things like the site identity. I have what's called a favicon here. So if you can change the little icon that appears in the tab of your window. When you're looking at Facebook online, there's a little blue square with an F in it up at the top of your browser. Well, you can do that for your site. And what's cool about that is it makes your site look professional. If you want a tutorial on that, go to methodicalblogger.com/favicon, FAVICON, and that'll walk you step by step through that. But you can talk about your title, you can give it a tagline, you can add all these things, you can customize what your layout looks like. Because of Divi theme, I'm able to customize a lot of my layout. You may not have as many options if you have a different theme. But you can do all kinds of things. You can decide on what you want your header and your menu bars to look like. And I recommend just fool around and have some fun customizing your theme and making it look amazing and reflect you and your personality and your brand. All right, so widgets. Widgets most commonly, widgets are what appears on what's called the sidebar of your website. So a sidebar, let me show you. A sidebar is kind of like a second column for a website. So if you see on the right-hand side of my site, there's a picture of me, there's this link to my blog planning guide, there's my social media icons. So you can customize a sidebar for your website. Is a sidebar necessary? No. You can have a site that's totally one column. I just like to take advantage of sometimes when I want to direct the readers to more resources that might help them besides just the blog post. So this is where you're able to customize that. So what you do is based on whatever you would like to put in that section, most of the time for me it's a text that I want to include, then you drag it over, you find it over here on available widgets, and you'll click on it. So here's text, and I could drag it over into the section, and then it gives me an opportunity to customize it, okay? Now this is one of those circumstances where knowing HTML code, you might need to, right? So let me give you an example of that. So I've got a text right here where it's my blog post planning guide, and I wanted to put in my image. In that case, I did need to hunt down and figure out how to insert an image with HTML. This is seriously, you learn as you go. And this is why I do not recommend that people pay someone to set up their website, because I think that you learn so much as you go through the process that it helps you be able to do all these random little things that would waste a lot of money for you to pay someone else to do. So if you quickly learn this, you'll learn little things about HTML, like how to create this code, like this centers an image, how to do that, how to change the width, how to take an image where if you click on it, it links to something. Those are things, type it into Google, figure it out, and you can add in here. If you ever have a question, you are welcome to ask me about that. I wanted a search bar in here, and that was one of the available widgets, so I dragged it over. I downloaded a plugin. Remember I said that's like an app for your website, a plugin that features social media icons. And that was one of the options that over here, and I dragged that over. And so that is what is allowing me to customize the appearance of my sidebar. And this is drag and drop, so I can move things around. But that's a really helpful tool to have on your website so that you give the readers more opportunities to connect and engage with you. Okay, next up is menus. So menu is what appears at the top of your website, right? So here I have about, blog, freebies, recommendations, services. So you can actually customize exactly how you want that menu to appear. You can pick any pages that you've created. You can also feature a post that you might want on there. Maybe you want it to link to a category on your website. So let's say you have a fashion website and you want people to see all posts related to purses. They could click on the purses category and that'd be on the menu, and it would take them to any post that you ever publish on purses that you've categorized. So this is a fantastic tool to do to just customize and prioritize where you want your readers to go. You don't want a ton of options on your menu. A general rule is to make sure that it's not 2 lines. You don't want it to bleed over into the next line. You just want it to be one row, okay? So I add like pages, you click on the check, and then you click add to menu, and it's going to swing it over here onto this menu, and you're able to drag and drop. You're able to change the wording. If you don't want it to say about, you can click on this arrow and change what you want it to say. And then once you're done, you click save menu, okay? Background is not a tool that I tend to use. I tend to fix my background as I'm editing my theme. And I recommend, it used to be this trend when blogs came out to have it be like scrapbooking paper and really cluttered. White, in my opinion, tends to be more receptive, what people respond very well to. It's very clutter-free, and it lets the focus be on your content, right? None of this I do. I never edit my CSS. If I ever need to, that's when I hire someone, because that's when things get tricky. That, I'm trying to think of a good explanation for that. That's like letting someone, I don't know, come in and fix your dishwasher and like take it apart and tweak it. And if you do it wrong, then the dishwasher's not going to work. So I don't go there. I don't know CSS, and I've never really needed to. Okay. So these last three things, not totally necessary. Plugins. So plugins are awesome because they allow you to customize your website. So if I go to installed plugins, you'll see that I have a list of plugins that I use for my site. Do you want me to talk with you about some of the ones I like? Akismet, I don't know how to say that. It basically helps keep spam comments on your site. A Google Analytics dashboard, like I showed you before, I use this every day to check how my stats are doing on my site. Let's see what else that I really like. The social media and share icons lets you have some customized social media things. W3 Total Cache, as well as WP Smush, are things that basically get it to where your website can perform faster. It compresses things and does all this behind the scenes stuff that I don't know how to do. It does that for me, so I don't have to worry about it. ConvertKit. ConvertKit is what I like to use for my email service. And this is just their app to where I can easily add in forms if I want someone to subscribe to something. And my absolute favorite plugin of all time is called Yoast SEO. Yoast SEO allows you to make sure that every post is customized for search engine optimization. In other words, it appears high, it will increase the odds of your post appearing higher when someone is searching for a particular topic on YouTube. It's a little tricky algorithm and system that is used, and this basically helps walk me through to make sure, as I write a post, there's a little section below the post, and it'll say like, oh, Tara, you don't say this word enough in your blog post. You need to make sure that you say this word more, and things like that. It's very helpful. But if you ever want to add a new plugin, you can click on Add New. And what it does, you can search for different plugins and add what you need. I recommend keep your plugins to a minimum. Only do what you absolutely need. If you have too many plugins on your website, you actually slow down the loading time. And as you probably know from your own experience, the longer the loading time, the less patience that you have to sit and wait for it as a reader. Someone goes to your site, right? Okay, users, if you ever have someone else working with you, you can add users to the website. I personally am a one-woman show right now, so I don't use that one. Tools, I don't use that. Settings, sometimes there are times when you might want to edit the settings. I barely ever go in here, but maybe you want a homepage that's called a static homepage. In other words, rather than it just showing your most recent blog posts, maybe you want one page to always be there and to stay the same. This is where you can customize some of those things. You can customize how many blog posts appear per page when someone comes to your site. Do you show the full blog post, or do you want them to just see the first paragraph of your blog post? That, the reading, writing in general, allows you the opportunity to edit what they see. The other items, honestly, I don't really need to use that much, okay? Next up, SEO. Remember, this is that Yoast plugin I was telling you about, but I never go in here because it's always showing up on my website. Pretty Link, that is another plugin that I use that allows me to shrink down different website addresses. So if I want to direct someone to a blog post, but the post title is super long, a lot of the times people go to websites like bit.ly, and those websites shrink the names down. Well, this will shrink it down, but use your domain. That's pretty cool. Okay, cool. And then the rest here, yeah, none of these I really use because they're just part of whether I'm writing a blog post or I'm setting up my theme, it's already there. Another thing you can do is you can hover over the top and you can click that you want to add a new post, new media, new page. And again, these are things that I don't use. So when I'm on my actual website, let's say that you are on a page or a blog post that you would like to edit. You could be on that page. So we're on a page right now. I can click here on edit page, and at any point I can go in and I can edit what I want that page to look like. Another thing that I wanted to draw your attention to is how you can customize different things on when you want it to publish. So this is already published, but let's say I want to edit the publish date or schedule it in the future. I can do that here and save it by clicking update. Let's say I'm making some edits. I can click preview changes and it's going to open up a new window that lets me see what I'm doing and make adjustments if I think that they need them. Okay, here's that Yoast I was telling you about. So it's looking at this page and it's telling me, oh, you need a focus word for this page. And oh, here's some things that you need to do differently. So that's kind of a glimpse at that now that you know what it is. But that's my overall tour of WordPress. That's what you need to know. And as you can see, I probably only showed you 1/5 of it and the rest you're not going to use that much. Maybe some people do. Just in my experience of years of blogging, there's a lot of fluff, right? So if you have a question on this, please don't hesitate to comment below and ask. I would be happy to help. All right, take care.